give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. We've got these microphones. They pick up a little, but you really have to talk right into them, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
May I proceed, Judge?
May.
Would you state your name, please?
My name's Margaret Manning,
Miss Manning, where are you from?
Mesa, Arizona.
Why did you agree to come testify here today?
Because Dr. Burzynski saved my life, and I like to stand for what I believe and share my feelings on what's true and what happened.
Okay. Are you married?
Yes,
How many children do you have?
6 children,
How many grandchildren do you have?
26
26 grandchildren.
so far.
So far. How many grandchildren did you have when you were diagnosed with cancer?
I think 8 or 9.
What kind of cancer were you diagnosed with?
Mantle cell non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. It's the worst of all the non-Hodgkin's.
Were you staged when you were diagnosed?
4th stage.
Do you know what the survival rate is for that type of cancer?
My oncologist said that nobody really lives from it. That he knew of anybody. Oh, he said nobody really lives from it very long.
When were you diagnosed?
On my birthday, 2009.
On your birthday? Who diagnosed you?
Dr. Christopher Kellogg, who is an oncologist, one of the top oncologists in Arizona.
Okay, and how old were you when you were diagnosed?
53.
And what goes through your head when you get that type of diagnosis?
I was shocked. I didn't believe it. I was like in denial. It's like me, I've always been into health and I eat good and why would I get this? I just couldn't believe this. I wanted to live longer because I wanted to be with my husband and my children and grandchildren and accomplish my goals.
And what type of prognosis were you given?
Well, if I didn't do anything, he said I would die within a year. If I did the strongest chemo in the hospital and bone marrow transplant twice, he said I could live 3 years.
Did they give you any hope of living beyond 3 years?
He said about 3 years, possibly.
Did you seek any other opinions?
Yes. I went back to my surgeon that had previously told me that I did have non-Hodgkin's, but he didn't know exactly what kind because they had to do further testing. And when he had told me that I had non-Hodgkin's, he said, we're going to get you better. We're going to send you to the best oncologist in Arizona and you'll get better. And then when they did that second testing and found out it was mantle cell, then Dr. Kellogg told me I wouldn't. So I went back to that surgeon and I said, why did you tell me I'd get better? Dr. Kellogg said I wouldn't, and he said, I didn't know it was mantle cell. I'm sorry, I apologize. And then I contacted doctor at U of A and contacted MD Anderson, some doctors there, and many different places.
Did anyone give you any other alternative opinions other than what Dr. Kellogg had told you?
No, it was all identical.
And were you aware of what the side effects are of the chemo and radiation and bone marrow transplants?
Yeah, I was told, of course, I'd lose my hair and my immune system would get really low. I'd have to be in the hospital and that I could die of other reasons, other things. Chemo makes you nauseated. I forgot what else. I don't know.
Did the possibility of those permanent side effects, in addition to the short amount of time they gave you to live, make you question that type of treatment?
Yes, but I would have done them if I knew that I could probably, there was a good chance for me to get better. I may have done it, but because I wouldn't live anyway, I knew that I shouldn't do it. Wouldn't be wise, because I remember that somebody said the definition of insanity is doing something over and over again expecting a different result. And so I thought, I don't think I should go that route, because why should I think I should get better when other people don't?
Okay, so what did you do next?
Well, I decided, well, we should either go the conventional way or some other way, of which I don't know. And we don't want to go the conventional way because that would be insanity in my case. And so then I thought, well, I guess I'll have to start investigating different ways, and got all my kids on the internet. Well, and asked them all to study different options because I was sick and wasn't feeling that good. And so, anyway, my brother...
It's okay, take your time.
My brother-in-law gave a, I don't know what it was. It's like a newsletter or something from a Dr. Whitaker. He was buying vitamins or something from this doctor, and so then he handed that to me, and he said, you may want to look into this, because he said if he ever had cancer, he'd go to a Dr. Burzynski. So then I gave this letter to my daughter and asked all my kids to study different ways, and then I said, if you guys feel good about anything, bring it to me. I'll study it, pray about it, and make a decision as to where to go. And so we studied, they brought different options to me, and I just looked over each one and studied them and felt very good about Dr. Burzynski, even though I didn't know anything really about the clinic. But then I heard that there was a lady in Mesa whose son had had brain cancer, and she had taken him there, and then he had gotten well, so I called her, and she told me the story, and I thought, I just felt really good about it, and I know this is where I'm supposed to go. This is where I choose to go, and so that's what we did.
And so you were treated at the Burzynski clinic?
Yes.
How long did you receive treatment from the Burzynski clinic?
Well, I started in April of 2009 and went for a year and a half until I was in remission. And then I continued on some of the medications, I think it was the PB, for another 6 months or so, because mine was such a serious case, they didn't want it to come back.
So from about April 2009 to approximately April 2011?
Yeah.
Let's talk about your initial visit to the Burzynski clinic. Do you remember that day?
Yes.
Who was present at the initial meeting at the Burzynski clinic?
My husband and my daughter. Is that with me, you mean?
With you, your husband, one of your daughters?
Yeah.
And who was there for the Burzynski clinic?
Dr. Burzynski, and I think there were like 3 other doctors, and then there was like a nurse or an assistant.
Was there an oncologist present, to your recollection?
Yeah, well, there was one of them, I think he was an oncologist. He talked with me about all these side effects that if I go on to Tykerb, because they were going to put me on Tykerb and Zolinza and a few other things, and he had to tell me these the side effects.
Okay.
And I was just like laughing, not laughing, but saying, well, that's fine, because I knew that I was going to go there and I was going to get better. I felt that. And so he's like, you need to be serious. You need to understand, listen to these, these are side effects. And I think he may have been an oncologist, but I don't know.
Do you believe there was an oncologist assigned to your care at the Burzynski clinic?
Yeah, I had like a panel, I had several doctors.
Okay. What were you...
One of them was probably, I think that one was the one, but I don't know who it is.
It's okay. What were you told about the proposed treatment for you?
That I was going to be taking pills called sodium phenylbutyrate, or PB, and because my cancer overexpressed certain proteins like HER2 and CD20 and I think something else, I can't remember the name of that one, that they were going to use off-label medications that were FDA approved but not for my particular kind of cancer for my treatment, as it would help me to get better faster.
Did they explain to you what off-label meant?
Yeah, they did. They said that it's not really approved by the FDA for my kind of cancer, and they talked a lot about it. So but I felt good about taking them. I think the Tykerb was for breast cancer or for other kinds of cancers, but not for mantle cell. They never used it for mantle cell. No other doctors did.
Did you receive any chemotherapy at the Burzynski clinic?
No, I didn't get any chemo anywhere.
Did they explain the side effects of the medications that you were going to be taking?
Yes, they did.
Did they explain them in detail?
Yes, they did.
Did you bring anything with you to that initial visit at the Burzynski clinic?
I don't remember, but I think I sent everything in ahead of time, but I might have brought the latest PET CT scan, but I don't remember. I think I sent it all over ahead of time though.
Did you, once you started treatment, Ms. Manning, did you develop any of the side effects of any of the treatment?
I did. I got canker sores that were very annoying, and I think they said that that might have been from the Zolinza, but I don't remember. And I got some cracks in my fingers, sort of, but they weren't from the PB, but they were from, it might have been from Tykerb or Zolinza. I don't know what it was from, but I was fine. I just put, you know, they kind of bothered me a little bit, but I just, yeah, put some
in the grand scheme
Vaseline and stuff.
I'm sorry. In the grand scheme of things, did you feel like those side effects were minimal?
Yeah, I rode my bike, and I still did a lot of things, but I didn't do heavy hiking and things like that because I think my body was probably, my muscle maybe were a little bit sore. I don't know, maybe they weren't. I think I was pretty good. Everybody thought I was like a miracle. I was like, I can't believe you have cancer. So I'm out riding my bike and things with my husband after a while, because just after a month or so I started getting, you know, things started getting better and just progressed.
So you started getting better immediately?
Like a month, I think, or I started getting better. And I kept doing my PET CT scans every 3 months.
Did you have a research associate assigned to you at the Burzynski clinic?
A research associate? Oh, yeah, I did. Oh, she's the best.
Did you understand, who was she?
Eva Kababi, and I loved her. She's my favorite. I loved all of them, of course. Dr. Burzynski and the other ones as well, of course. He's amazing. But I'm just talking, I liked her because she kind of was like the liaison between my doctors and me, and I could like call her and talk with her.
Did anyone ever represent to you that Eva Kubov was a licensed medical physician?
I think that she was in another country, but not here. So she could never do anything like, she couldn't do, well she did, she talked with me, but she always had to get like prescriptions, or she'd have to do things, she'd have to get everything okayed with the doctor or oncologist or something, because she couldn't do it. But she was very knowledgeable.
But you understood that she did not have a license to practice medicine in the state of Texas.
I know, yeah, she told me that.
What did she tell you?
Or somebody told me that. I think she did, but maybe others did. I don't remember.
They made it perfectly clear at the Burzynski clinic that she was not a licensed physician.
True, but she was very knowledgeable nevertheless.
Did she ever provide you with any medical care?
No.
Did she diagnose you?
No.
Did she ever evaluate you?
No.
Did she ever provide you with any treatment?
No.
Did she ever prescribe anything for you?
She couldn't.
What did she tell you to call her?
Eva?
Did she ever tell you to call her Dr. Kabadi?
No, but I wanted to, and sometimes I did, but she always like, just call me Eva.
Did you ever get the impression that Eva was practicing medicine?
No.
Was there a team of physicians in charge of your care at the Burzynski clinic?
Yes.
Did you understand that the oncologist assigned to you developed your treatment plan?
Yes.
And who was primarily responsible for your treatment?
Primarily responsible? Probably the oncologist.
Okay.
I don't know.
When you had your initial meeting with the physicians at the Burzynski clinic, did they explain genetic targeted therapy to you?
Yes.
What were you told?
Genetic targeted therapy, what they were doing, they told me about the proteins that my cancer overexpressed, and that they were doing a specific, they were doing this, they were treating me, each patient they treat differently. Is that what you're trying to, I don't know. So with me, every case is different. Every patient is treated differently. It all depends on the genes and what is overexpressed. So I was treated differently than other patients. Everybody has their own treatment.
Did you understand that periodically they might change the combination of your medications?
Yes, and they did.
And, I'm sorry, were you?
Yeah, yes.
Each time they changed the combination of your medications, did they explain the medications that you were being given?
Yes. I had to sign papers and they, before taking them.
So you had to sign consent
I had
forms?
to read it and, yeah.
Were they consent forms?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Who
Sorry.
explained those medications to you?
An oncologist. I think he was an oncologist. I don't know. But I don't remember his name.
It's okay. One of the licensed physicians?
Yeah.
Did you have any questions about consent forms that you were signing?
No. Well, if I did, I probably asked it at the time.
And were you satisfied with the answers that you got?
Yes. But I wasn't satisfied with one thing. I wanted them to tell me I would get better, and they never would. And I kept saying, can you just they just didn't tell me. But I knew I was going to get better anyway by going there, but I wanted them to.
They never guaranteed you that those drugs that you were taking would cure your cancer?
No, they never even said that they would, but I already knew it in my heart and in my mind, and I just felt it. But I wanted them to, but that was okay, because I understood that legally they probably couldn't do that.
Were you ever part of a clinical trial at the Burzynski Clinic?
No, but I think I wanted to be but I didn't qualify.
You've been a cancer survivor for how many years?
6.
After you returned home to Mesa, Arizona to continue your treatment, did you communicate with anyone at the Burzynski Clinic?
Yeah, I did.
With who?
Well, I had somebody call me. I don't know what she was. Maybe she was one of those RAs. I don't know what they're called. But she called me every week, and she asked me all these questions, detailed. I could talk with her. If I had any questions, she would get with, I don't know if she went through Eva Kababi, then to the doctors, but everything had to go back to the doctors. And so they contacted me every week, and anytime I had questions, I could contact them, and there was very excellent communication. Her name might have been Melissa, and then there was somebody else. I don't remember their names. I thought it started with an M, the one that called me for a long time, and then it changed to somebody else. But I got phone calls every week.
During the period of time that you were treated at the Burzynski Clinic, you had interactions with lots of people at the Burzynski Clinic. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's true.
Did you feel that the personnel cared about you?
They were amazing.
They were compassionate and caring?
They were so caring, so compassionate, very knowledgeable, very professional. And I left the clinic because there was just an atmosphere of hope and peace, and I just felt really good.
When you returned back to Arizona, you continued your treatment, correct?
Yes, with Dr.
Who administered your medications to you in Arizona?
Dr. Christopher Kellogg, and he was the original one, But he was also excellent. He was featured in a magazine. I think he was either one of the top 10 or top 20, but he was excellent.
Were the physicians in Arizona happy with the care you were receiving from Dr. Burzynski?
Yes, and in fact, this was a joke that he would say, Dr. Kellogg, but he would always say, you're doing amazing. Keep taking Dr. Burzynski's chemo pills. He would call them chemo pills. I'm like, I'm not taking chemo pills. It was a joke, kind of. But he was happy to work with Dr. Burzynski because he knew that there was no other hope for me. And he thought, well, if he says he can help you, I'm going to try it. I'm going to work with him.
And as you continued your treatment, what did Dr. Kellogg tell you regarding the results of the treatment?
That I was continually getting better, and this is amazing. And finally he said I was in remission, and yeah, it was exciting.
He was obviously happy about the results you received.
Oh, yeah.
From your personal experience as a patient at the Burzynski Clinic, do you feel that Dr. Burzynski or anyone at the clinic ever misrepresented the effectiveness of the treatment that you were given?
No.
From your personal experience and as a patient at the Burzynski Clinic, do you feel that Dr. Burzynski ever failed to communicate with you or your family?
No.
Do you feel that anyone at the clinic ever misrepresented the cost of the treatment to you?
No.
Do you feel like anyone at the clinic ever engaged in any false billing?
No.
Were you charged for the treatment you received at the Burzynski clinic?
Yes.
Were those charges fair in your experience?
Yes.
Did someone at the clinic discuss the billing with you?
Yeah.
Did
Financial counselors.
they explain the charges?
Yes.
At any time, did you feel the clinic rushed you through the finance issues?
No.
At any time, did you feel the clinic was pressuring you into receiving treatment at the clinic?
No.
At any time, did you feel the clinic was charging you unreasonably?
No.
Did you
Because
feel
we figured it out and we figured it was less than doing chemo, radiation, bone marrow transplant and all that. So it was better. Except for insurance didn't cover it. Sorry to talk so much.
Did you feel that the clinic was forthcoming and honest with you about the charges for the treatment?
Yes.
What have you been doing now that you've defeated cancer?
I love life. I am the block neighborhood captain. I take care of my grandkids. I help my children. I was helping my daughter who had just had a baby with her house, and I broke my arms, my wrists 4.5 weeks ago. We wanted to give back to the community, so actually for the last 4 years we've been doing something called Arizona's Rockin' with Talent, and it's where the judges choose the top 20. Anyway, I could go on and on about the most talented people in Arizona, and then they have competitions to see who the top 3, and then this money goes towards helping people with medical bills or with their bills, because we want to help others, because I've been helped. The community helped me. The Phoenix Suns, golf tournaments, all the things that were given to me, that we want to help other people. So we're doing a lot of community, church work, neighborhood, family. I'm very busy, and I love life. So happy that I could be alive.
So you're paying it back.
I want to.
When did you arrive in Austin for this hearing?
Yesterday at about dinner time. Or I don't know what was 5:36. I don't remember. About that time.
Did you feel it was important to be here?
Absolutely.
And you said a moment ago you broke both your wrists. Is that 4 weeks
in multiple
ago?
places they put plates and pins in there.
You said that happened 4 weeks ago?
Yeah, actually, I think 4 weeks or 4.5 weeks ago.
Does that make
actually 4.
Does that make it difficult to travel?
I'm supposed to be soaking in hot, cold 4 times a day and doing these exercises. But I've been doing it where I'm staying, sort of, a little bit.
You felt, though, that it was important to be here?
Oh, absolutely. It's not a sacrifice to be here. It's an honor to be here.
Are you being paid to testify today?
No. No.
Have you ever been paid to testify on behalf of Dr. Burzynski?
No.
Ms. Manning, you had 2 brothers who were diagnosed with cancer, correct?
Yes.
Are they alive?
No.
Did they choose conventional treatment? I'm sorry.
Well, no, not really. They were. One of them had brain cancer. His wife. I had just gotten cancer, and I was just starting to go to Dr. Burzynski. And we didn't really know about him. I just said, I feel really good about him. My brother wanted to go, but his wife said, no, I read some information on the internet, and I don't think so. And so he didn't, but he passed away. Yeah, brain cancer. And then my other one had colon cancer, and he wanted to go to the Burzynski clinic, but his wife she wasn't sure. And then they didn't have the money, actually. He went once to find out what to do, and he wanted to, but we just couldn't earn. He didn't really have the support with his wife and family. And they didn't have the money, and he died about 3 months ago, I think.
I'm sorry for your loss.
I have 10. There's 10 children in our family. Yeah, I'm number 8. That was my baby brother. He just passed away.
Do you believe you'd be alive, Ms. Manning, without Dr. Burzynski?
No.
That's all the questions I have. Pass it.
Good morning, Ms. Manning.
Hi.
My name is Chris Palazzolo. I'm the litigation manager for the Texas Medical Board. Do you need a couple minutes to get situated?
Well, I was just looking for my glasses. Oh.
Here, I'll get them for you.
Oh, thank you.
I saw him fall.
Because I can't see that far. I wanted to see his face. Thank you. Okay. no, excuse me, what is your name?
My name is Chris Palazola. I'm the litigation manager for the Texas Medical Board.
Okay.
And I'm trying to kind of twist around over here and get to the microphone, and I have my notes, so I'm kind of shuffling around here. If you have any trouble hearing me, you'll let me know, okay?
Okay.
And initially, I just want to say, congratulations on still being here. And I know that a diagnosis of cancer is a devastating moment in anybody's life, and we're glad that you have gone into remission and that you've survived this amount of time.
Thank you.
We do share that. And I'm going to ask you a few questions today. And first of all, have you given testimony under oath before today?
No.
And have you, and I guess under oath, you understand the question, which means the judge swore you in and you gave testimony. So that could be in any setting, not just in a courtroom, but in front of a legislature, anything like that. Have you given any testimony prior to today in that setting?
Have I? No. I've never really been in a courtroom, but one time I think I got a ticket, so I guess that was a courtroom.
Okay.
So I've been in one. This is my only other time.
Okay. And you're doing good answering questions and just giving us a chance to ask you a question before you give an answer. You're doing great. But what about any other speaking engagements or speaking occasions to travel and tell your story about Dr. Burzynski? Have you done that prior to today?
No.
And you did testify, I think, initially.
Oh, wait. I was on the news.
Okay.
They put me on the news on Channel 3 twice because they couldn't believe that this lady was healed of mantle cell. I said, I can't talk. Don't put me on the news, but I guess I'll do it. So they did.
Was that in Mesa?
Yeah, which is the local. It was very scary, but I did it anyway.
And I think you said you're happy to be here, and you're here in part to show your support for Dr. Burzynski.
That's exactly why.
And prior to going to Dr. Burzynski's clinic, did you have any sort of medical training or medical education?
No.
And do you, prior to your diagnosis of cancer, and obviously you gave that date and stated it was on your birthday, and obviously that's a date that you remember very well in your mind, correct?
March 20th,
Okay.
2009.
Prior to March 20th, 2009, did you have any kind of personal knowledge of cancer and cancer treatment?
No, but my mother, my grandmothers both had breast cancer. I didn't really know much about it, but I knew that cancer was a devastating illness. I didn't want it. I always ate good so that I wouldn't get cancer, but then I got it from a chemical, so.
And you're not.
I didn't know much about it.
And you're not employed and have never been employed by Dr. Burzynski or his clinic or anything like that?
No.
What about, have you had any involvement with the patient support group or the patient care group associated with patients that have gone to Dr. Burzynski's clinic?
No. I think I talked with one of them one time. I called her up and asked her. Oh yeah, I did. I called, before I went there, I called one of them. But I just asked her if she got better.
And did you share your story with her?
Well, that was before I had a story. But, because it was before I had cancer. But then afterwards, I might have. I don't know if I ever called and told. Oh yeah, I think I did. I shared my story. And, yeah, I did. I can't remember her name, but she had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and I did. And I think that I sent in my story to her or something. I don't remember, but I did.
Okay. Yeah, and I just want to clarify. You said I thought I heard you say you talked to her first before you had cancer. Is that accurate?
No, I mean I had cancer, but I'm not sure if I did. I know I made a phone call to several people. I called this lady who her son had cancer in Arizona, and then there was a lady that I think her name starts with an M. And
Miss Siegel.
Yes,
Right.
and I heard she had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and I might have called her. I think I called her maybe prior to going to Dr. Burzynski. But I wanted to hear her story too to see if she got better, and she did.
Would it be fair to say that after being given this diagnosis and Dr. Kellogg explaining to you the type of cancer that you had and the prognosis of 1 year, and if I say something wrong, they'll correct me, but I think I got this right. The prognosis was 1 year if you did nothing, and possibly 3 years if you followed the conventional treatment recommendations.
Correct.
And after getting that that prognosis, which would be frightening for anyone, you were doing whatever you could to seek out what options you had. Is that right?
Right.
And I think your testimony, if I understand you correctly, that one of those things you did was contact Miss Siegel as somebody who had a similar type of cancer to you, or also a non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, to get her story.
I believe I did, and I don't know exactly when, whether it was before I went to Dr. Burzynski or if it was right afterwards, but I did talk with her and asked her about her experience.
Okay, and do you know how you got her name? How you got in touch with her? Do you remember?
Maybe it was on the internet. I don't know. Can't remember.
You were doing everything you could to find out what options you had.
Absolutely.
So we don't expect you to have a perfect memory. One of the other things that you did was, I think I heard you say that you had your family, your immediate family, your daughters, do some research for you.
All my kids but one, because he was on a mission and he couldn't. But my other 5.
And so this was a family decision as to, you included your family because they're your support network, right?
I included them in helping me to do the research because I wasn't well enough to do it all. My husband too, it was a lot for us. And they all are very close. We're all very close. And they love to help.
And you said they went over your options. What other options were available other than the Burzynski clinic?
I think there was, I don't remember the name of it, but it was some other clinic, I think was it Washington? I don't know, some other state. And then there was some, I shouldn't say that they're weird. I just thought, I don't know about this. It's like, I think the Jerusalem clinic, and then there was another place, and then let's see, what other place? There was like different herbs and different things, and I didn't feel like and I believe in eating good, don't get me wrong, but I didn't feel like just a healthy diet was going to get me better. And I called around to the MD Anderson, and I think the one in Texas as well as, I think it was the one in Texas actually.
Do you recall what was it about the Burzynski clinic at that point that helped you make the decision that was the place to go to?
I don't really like to tell you the real reason because you wouldn't understand. The real reason is I had peace in my heart and mind after studying it.
After studying?
After reading about the Burzynski clinic, I just felt like I should go there and then I'd get better. That's the real reason.
And if you need to take a minute or two, you certainly can.
Yeah, and I just felt right about it. I'm like, I just know I'm going to get better. I know I'm supposed to go here. So I made an appointment for 5 days later, and I had no money. And then there's another story after that. But that's the real story. I just felt right about it. And I felt like it was where I was supposed to go.
Did it matter to you whether or not the treatments offered at the clinic were approved by the FDA or not?
No, it didn't matter to me. Because what the FDA had approved for my particular kind of cancer wasn't effective and wasn't working. So I knew I had to go a different way. Or I would, yeah.
Was there something about what you read about the Burzynski clinic, you said it gave you peace, was there something that you read about it that led you to believe it was going to cure you of cancer?
No, but my number 1 doctor told me to go there. And I knew that, just felt through prayer that this is where I'm supposed to go. Everyone can be guided different ways, maybe for their bodies, but I felt like this was the place for me.
And in making that decision, did you include any sort of research into what the survival rate were for people treated at Dr. Burzynski's clinic versus people treated in Indiana somewhere else?
I wanted to, but I couldn't really find that. And that's why when I went there even, I'm like, couldn't you just give me, a little bit of hope? I mean, I already know I'm going to get better, but like, what are the statistics? And it would have been, but maybe I don't know, I think that Dr. Burzynski kind of says, well, as I was getting better, you're getting positive results. He would use words like positive results, or the other doctors. I don't know if they gave me statistics, but they may have given me something that I don't know, but I don't think so. But I don't know. I just felt like I would get positive results going there, and I felt good about it.
Did you receive anti-neoplasms at the clinic?
I got sodium phenylbutyrate. They're pills. Some people call them PB.
Okay. You don't recall anybody saying this is anti-neoplasms and giving you that medication other than the phenylbutyrate?
I think antineoplasms were something different. I don't know.
And then you mentioned some of the other...
Maybe they are the same, but I think there's the liquid, more the intravenous. I didn't get that.
And we understand you're not one of the doctors testifying in this case,
Oh,
so we
okay.
don't expect you to have a perfect understanding. I'm just asking what you recall from
Okay.
what you were told, and I think the phenylbutyrate is what you told us. And,
Yeah.
okay. And you mentioned some of the other drugs by name or medications that you were given at the Burzynski clinic, and I think I tried to write down phonetically what you said, but one of them was
Tykerb, Tykerb.
Okay, Tykerb, and what other ones were you prescribed?
I remember I got Zolinza.
And your testimony was you never got chemotherapy. What is your understanding as a non-medical person what chemotherapy is?
Well, I do have to say one more thing.
Is it,
okay,
is it an answer to one of my
Well, kind
questions?
of. I was also put on something called Rituxan, and it was different than they would normally do. I think it was every 6 months for, I think, and I'm like, wait a minute, is this chemo? So I asked my Dr. Kellogg, I'm like, hey, is this chemo? And he said, no, it's called an monoclonal something antibody. He said, this is not technically no, this is not chemo. What is it called? Monoclonal antibody or something like that. And so I was on that also.
Okay. So the Zolinza and the Tykerb, and I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, what is your understanding if your understanding is those are not chemotherapy?
Oh no, they're not.
What do you understand
They're
them to be?
Pills that help because the cancer overexpresses certain things, and then I guess I don't know, but I'm not sure.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you for answering.
But I
the
just
question.
knew that I was supposed to take them and that they would help me.
Just a second here. Did it make any difference to you whether or not the individuals that were helping you at the Burzynski clinic were licensed in Texas or not?
No, well, usually when I go to my other doctors, they always have like nurse practitioners or different people to help me, and I think that I think most of mine were doctors at the Burzynski clinic. I just think that Eva wasn't, and maybe the girl who called me wasn't. I'm used to working with, people like that.
Your focus was to get better.
Yeah. And they're very helpful because they help you get through to the doctors and. Oh,
Wait
I'll be
and
quiet.
answer what you're eating.
Thanks.
And do you have any knowledge of what rules apply to doctors in Texas who are treating patients with complementary or alternative medications?
Right, doctors in Texas that are.
Yes. Do you know what the rules are that apply to a doctor providing complementary or alternative treatment for cancer?
I probably should know, but I don't know.
Well, you're not practicing in Texas. You're a patient, so you're not required to know. I'm just asking if you do know. Is that a no?
I don't know.
What about the paperwork and the rules and regulations involved in getting FDA approval to do clinical trials? Are you familiar with how that process works at all?
Well, I didn't get a clinical trial, but what the process is to get into a clinical trial?
Well, what responsibility somebody who is a clinical investigator, do you know what rules apply to them or laws?
No.
Do you know if rules apply to that?
Probably.
And then I heard that you've lost two brothers to cancer, and everybody expressed their sympathy for that. Did one of your brothers receive some treatment at the Burzynski clinic?
Well, we went initially. I brought him because he wanted to see if we could go, and I think he turned in his PETs or his CT scans, and he started, it was like the initial one, and then if you choose to go back, then you have to pay more, and then so we did go to the initial visit, yes.
But do you know if so you went to the initial visit but didn't have any treatment? Or do you know?
No, okay, let me think. His is a long story. So,
and I'm sorry to interrupt, but at this point I'm just asking, do you know if you received any treatment at the Burzynski clinic or not? Not what it was, but do you know?
I do know.
And did he receive treatment at the Burzynski clinic or through the Burzynski treatment?
I have to tell you what happened. So, he has his colon cancer. Oh.
Very simple question. Did he
Okay.
receive treatment from?
He started to, but he didn't take the pills because he
That's fine.
didn't have the
That's
money,
the answer.
so he didn't.
Do you know how long he was? Do you know how long he was treated at the? How long did he stay on the medication before he stopped taking the pills? Do you know?
Maybe a week.
And is anybody else? We've gone over. You don't have any medical training or you haven't had any formal medical education or formal medical training. Has anyone in your immediate family had any formal medical training or medical experience?
No.
More notes. And do you receive any sort of income for any fundraising you do for the Burzynski clinic, or do you do any fundraising for the Burzynski clinic?
No, I don't, and I don't get any money. We'll help whoever wants to go wherever they want to go.
Okay, and let me follow up on that just a bit. So you help people go wherever they want to go. How do you help?
Well, like I did this Arizona's Rockin' with Talent, and like a young man needed some money to do some tests to see what his problem was, and so any extra money from that went to help him.
Okay.
But
So
we
that was a
didn't make
fundraiser
much.
for somebody. Was that a cancer patient?
No,
Okay. So
it doesn't matter if it's cancer though. If anybody needs help with their medical needs, they can, if they need to make money, so that's what it was for.
and is that
It wasn't much money.
Is that fundraising? Is there a website associated with that fundraising?
With the fundraising?
Yes.
For Arizona's Rockin' with Talent?
Well, is that the only?
That's the only one we did.
Okay. Is that linked from? Do you know if that link to that fundraising is linked to the Burzynski website in any way?
No. It's a local. We help people locally, and I haven't really helped very many. But I help people. Oh, well, better not talk.
Just let him ask you.
Okay.
I passed it.
No further questions, Judge.
May this witness be excused?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Ms. Manning.
Thank you.
Your Honor, our next witness will be our last, Robin Russell.
Okay, before she comes in, let me ask, wait when Ms. Manning goes out, I got a question for Mr. Burzynski.
Does she need to go out? She was going to.
Or were you gonna stay?
Well,